Sheikh Abdurrahman Karye.
My brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we are joined by 500 plus Minnesotans in participation of Muslim Day at the Capitol. We have come together to address challenges facing our communities and steps we can take with our legislature. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, led by example and left us on a path to be followed, which reminds us that his life was immersed in practicing and promoting social justice. He called out the traces of racism in his community. He put special effort in fulfilling the particular needs of women and children. He encouraged literacy and healthy living. He encouraged kindness to the trees and the environment around him, the animals. He helped liberate those shackled by debt and slavery. He amplified the voices of those who came from historically disadvantaged backgrounds, and so much more. In his farewell sermon, the Prophet, peace be upon him, delivered this sermon near the end of his life in front of the largest audience he had ever had. He chose to speak, among other essential aspects of Islam, about social justice. He did not only address the Muslims, but all of humanity, saying, "O people," before sharing his important message, a sign that what he was about to say was something he really needed every human being to understand. And then he spoke about the rights of women. He spoke about abolishing usury, one of the root causes of economic inequalities. He emphasized that there is no justification for racism. And he encouraged those who understood this message to pass it on to others. More than 1,000 years later, that message and the legacy of the Prophet continues to drive our work and our vision of a more just Minnesota. One of our core values of being Muslims is the concept called adl, social justice, to make sure that everyone is given justice. This past year has been a trying one for our Muslim community. With the blessing of Allah, the Muslim community has grown in so many ways. But perhaps the most foundational blessing of the past year is seeing how powerful we are when we come together. Yet, there's still so much that we can do. Racism and Islamophobia is alive and well in the very fabric of our political nation. We need to protect the rights of immigrants. We need to protect renters from eviction. We need to strengthen voting access. We need to tackle the rising Islamophobia and white nationalism. We need to close the achievement gap in education. This year, 2022, comes with both political responsibilities and opportunities for people in Minnesota. We pray that Allah, God, guides us to pure convictions and then inspires us. He inspires in us the courage to match those convictions. I thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh Abdurrahman. Now please join me in welcoming Sister Sumera Islam, who will be sharing with us more on the human rights situation in India.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be upon you all. Welcome, Speaker Hortman. My name is Sumera Islam, and I am a core leader with the Muslim Coalition in the city of Blaine and in Senate District 37. Thank you for joining us. I want to share how much we appreciate the partnership we have built with the Minnesota House under your leadership. I stand before you today with a request for solidarity. Our beautifully diverse state of Minnesota is home to a growing South Asian community of more than 100,000 Minnesotans. According to Human Rights Watch, the government of India has passed the Citizenship Amendment Act. The government purposefully designed this act to exclude Muslims from obtaining citizenship equal to other minorities. With the denial of citizenship comes the denial of fundamental human rights and equal treatment under the law. Furthermore, the Indian government took additional discriminatory steps against Muslims by imposing restrictions on Muslim women's clothing in colleges and schools in India. This restriction forces Muslim women to choose between their faith and access to education. Minnesota must remain the welcoming state it is and express solidarity with the state's South Asian community, regardless of religion and caste. We ask for your support for the resolution of Representative Hudan Hassan to stand with us in opposing the discriminatory laws against Muslim women in India. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. My name is Melissa Hortman, and I have the honor of serving as the Speaker of the House in the Minnesota House of Representatives. It's really good to be with all of you, and thank you so much for the invitation. I know that we're virtual tonight, but I'm really hoping that I get to see more of all of you in person at the state capitol or in the state office building soon. As you all know, we have a projected $10 billion state surplus. Minnesota's economy overall is doing well when you look at it at the surface level. But if you look under the surface, we have too many Minnesotans struggling paycheck to paycheck. And we all know people who are worried about their economic future. And with a projected $10 billion surplus, we really have an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. We know that workers and families are creating this economic growth. And in many cases, it's just the very successful corporations and the folks at the top of those corporations that are feeling the economic success of these times. We have to continue to focus on reducing everyday costs. We have to improve the economic security of Minnesota families, and we have to ensure a public safety system where everyone is safe, but their human and constitutional rights are protected above all else. With this surplus, there's a lot we can do to improve this state. With the war in Europe, it's a scary time. It's a time of deep uncertainty. And I would say that we would be wise to set aside some of the projected state surplus just in case the future changes dramatically. In addition to helping our workers and families, we should be cautious. Now we're at a stage of the session where, because we have the state budget forecast, we're ready to start taking action on behalf of the families and the workers in the state of Minnesota. The committees are hard at work putting bills together that recognize the hardworking families of Minnesota. And pretty soon, those chairs and those committee members will be putting together packages, whether it's in education with Chair Dabney or in taxes with Chair Marquardt, or in workforce development with Chair Noor. Our chairs will be putting packages together. This is when it's really important for you to share your opinions and your stories as we shape these bills, because we know each and every decision that we make here at the state capitol impacts people's lives. And government of the people, by the people, for the people only works when we hear from the people. So please take the time to share your thoughts and your perspective with the members, and especially with the committee chairs as we shape these bills. Now, it's a little bit difficult for us because here in the state of Minnesota, we're one of the only states in the country with a legislature that's divided by political party. We have Democrats in control of the Minnesota House. We have Republicans in control of the Minnesota Senate. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find the areas where we can reach common ground. But I want to assure you that we every day stand in a space where we say to our Republican colleagues, we're ready to be in conversation with you. We're ready to have compromise, and we're ready to get things done for the people of Minnesota. We in the Minnesota House DFL do not have at all an attitude of it's my way or the highway. I think right now, the biggest issues on our plate are really providing compensation for those frontline workers, and then looking at the state's unemployment insurance trust fund and taking some action to refill that. And I think there's definitely a compromise available, and we're ready to find that compromise. So thanks again for inviting me to be here this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions or to stay if that's the way the program unfolds, or also happy to say goodnight if you're moving on to your next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Speaker of the House, Melissa Hortman. To keep going with the schedule, I would like to introduce Imam Saleh Muhammad from Rochester, and he will also introduce the governor as well as the lieutenant governor to describe the needs of our community.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And good evening, everyone. I welcome Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. I am Saleh Muhammad, an organizer with the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. There are 500 people with us today on this webinar and Facebook Live. The tens of thousands we represent are committed to leading alongside you towards a democracy that honors every person's dignity and a caring economy that allows everyone to thrive. As the highest level elected official in Minnesota, we are grateful for your partnership over the past few years. We have seen you lead our state through the unprecedented crisis of the past couple of years with courage and clarity about protecting the most vulnerable. We have abundant resources given the surplus we have in Minnesota. We can ensure everyone can thrive and have the support they need in housing, education, healthcare, and the childcare they need. We support your bold budget and leadership to invest in the things all Minnesotans need. Thank you. Our community requires several major solutions to build long-term stability and collective wealth for future generations. This year, we also have a few priorities that our collective Muslims care about that we want you to partner with us on. First is increasing eligibility for families to provide tutoring for their kids. The COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted our educational system. Our K-12 education tax credit is long overdue for an update. For more than 25 years, the income limit has not increased from $33,500, regardless of household size. Meanwhile, tutoring costs have more than doubled and electronics costs are constantly rising. We need to ensure all students have access to tutoring and computers to help them learn. The second is having healthcare available for everyone. The health insurance situation in Minnesota leaves much to be desired. Minnesota's current health insurance situation has many uninsured, many more underinsured, and everyone paying for more than is necessary. If individuals lose their current job or work for a small business, they struggle to afford even the least expensive insurance. Healthcare expenses are the most significant cause of personal bankruptcy and the most common reason for GoFundMe campaigns. During this legislative session and Muslim Day at the Capitol, our focus is on the immediate action we need from the legislature and the governor's office is to help our community get through this crisis and address the wealth gap in our communities again. Welcome, Governor Walz and Lieutenant Flanagan.
We would get this right. Well, Imam Muhammad, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to each and every one of you. Good evening. Thank you to the Muslim American Society, IANA, the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah, and each one of you for caring enough about this state and about our democracy to give of your time, your talent, your treasure to make this state better. And to be very, very clear, our Muslim community adds so much culturally, so much economically, so much socially, so much to the arts that Minnesota cannot be Minnesota without each and every one of you and with this community here. I know the last 2 years have been incredibly challenging. The last 2 years during COVID have also shown us that COVID did not affect all people in all communities equally, and it exacerbated and showed us the inequities in our system. As you heard the Imam say, our healthcare system, we have the best healthcare providers in the world here, and yet we still make it inaccessible to many of our people. It is long past time that there is a public option, an affordable public option buy-in. We are proposing it once again in our budget. And as you heard Speaker Hortman say, this state is financially in as solid as a place as it can be. And that was not caused by raising taxes. It was caused on historic profits in some of our largest corporations. And Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, myself, and I think this coalition believes this gives us a generational opportunity to address these inequities. to exactly what you're hearing on here, whether it's inequities in home ownership, inequities in generational wealth, inequities in education, inequities in healthcare. And the usual answer is, we can't afford to do that. Well, the real answer is we can't afford not to do it. And we have the capacity to do it right now. On healthcare, we have a one care buy-in plan that would allow everyone to purchase into Minnesota Care. It would be affordable and it would be high quality. We'll use our purchasing power to drop the price of prescription drugs. And we have been very, very clear that no child in Minnesota, no child, and I do not care about their status of immigration or where they're at, any child needs to have health care and accessibility to it. And we put that into our proposal. It should not be a debatable issue. It should simply be the way it is. It's the right thing to do. As we start to stabilize in the healthcare system, I know this is an issue that comes up time and time again, the issue of affordable housing. It is virtually impossible in many areas to find housing. It's certainly impossible to find culturally appropriate housing. I've heard this from our friends in St. Cloud time and time again. It's why with this budget surplus that we are proposing a $1 billion investment in naturally occurring affordable housing, making sure that the housing, the process is made simpler. We're asking for down payment assistance, specifically targeted at underserved communities, and the opportunity to make sure that we have culturally appropriate financing available to make sure that we have the opportunities for everyone to own a home, pass that wealth on down. You're going to hear a debate that we should cut taxes and return that money. To be very clear, many people did very well economically during COVID. And the last thing we need to do is to give tax cuts to the wealthy amongst us when we have the opportunity to create broader wealth and broader opportunities that everyone will benefit from, that will stabilize our community, that will make Minnesota a beacon for where people choose to live. And the economic capacity that we have now with this budget surplus allows us to address healthcare. It allows us to address housing. And you're going to hear a little bit here from my coworker and our champion for children, the issue around education, and echoing what the Imam said, the ability to change some of those numbers to make those tax credits work for every family, to provide the extra help that we need when we need, and to make sure that education is at the core of what we do. There are many proposals in this budget. One of the things we do too, that is a very simple thing, but will have a big difference, is we propose universal meals, breakfast and lunch for every single child in Minnesota. No more filling out forms, no more coming with a ticket, no more having to worry if that's done. And what we know is if we can stabilize a child's housing, we can stabilize a family's healthcare, we can stabilize a food situation, and we can make access to capital for business growth much more equitable. We will grow this economy even bigger than it is. We will make a Minnesota that is welcoming and prosperous and thriving for every single Minnesotan. So I'm proud to be with you. I see a few of the little boxes. I see old friends and new friends. I would encourage all of you, lift your voices up, make people tell you why they don't think we should be investing in these things. I've heard from some in the Senate that these are radical proposals. If it is radical that every child should have food, then I'm guilty of that. If it is radical that housing should be affordable to all people in Minnesota, I am guilty of that. And if it is radical to believe that every single human being has access to quality, affordable health care in the wealthiest state with some of the best providers, then I am guilty of that too. And the very basic thing that you're asking for is to be treated with the dignity of every single person, then we're guilty of that too, because we believe that's the world we want to live in. Your voices lifting up inspire me. This can be done. It is no longer, we don't have the money, we don't have the ability to do it. We have all those things. We have all those things. And if we could just get a few people to agree to this, all the things the Imam just asked us and the things that I'll address, that I just addressed and the Lieutenant Governor will address, those things can be done by May, right here in Minnesota. Imagine waking up with every child and every person with health care, affordable. The idea of now you can afford a house and get down payment assistance. The idea that we expanded access to these credits for early learning. All those things can happen. This isn't just hopefulness. This is real. Other places do it. And then all of the other things, paid family leave, and the things that bring dignity to the work we do. So I'm grateful to be with you. I'm going to turn this over to your Lieutenant Governor. And again, as I would say, I'm proud every day that there is not a decision that's made in this administration that doesn't focus on equity and how it impacts communities and our children of putting their future first. With that, I would turn to Lieutenant Governor Flanagan.
Well, thank you so much, Governor, and good evening, everyone. I am so grateful to be here with you, and I hope that you are excited and fired up after hearing from Governor Walz. I know that I am, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit more about what is in our budget proposal. But I want you to know that your fingerprints are all over what we are trying to do here. Because we have heard from you, we are in relationship with one another, and we know how important it is to invest in Minnesota. So of course, I'll just echo the governor's thanks to the Muslim American Society of Minnesota, the IANA, and the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah for organizing today and for the work that you do every single day to make our state a wonderful place to be and to live. And to everyone who is tuned in today, hello and welcome to your day. If we were in person at the Capitol, I would say welcome to your house, because it is the people's house. It is truly your house. And I hope that you feel just that sense of ownership every time you step into that building and you do this work and you lobby and you advocate for the things that you believe in, because it all belongs to you. So because, you know, that's why days like today are so important, because we need to hear directly from Minnesotans about the issues that matter to them. Your stories, your narratives, your experiences matter. As a former legislator, I can tell you that it wasn't the facts, figures, and statistics that I heard from folks. It was stories about real human beings, and seeing the dignity, the worth, and the humanity behind those stories it was key and critical. So the work that you're doing here will truly make a difference. And I know the governor shared some of the things that we have as priorities, but I'm going to dig in just a little bit more here too. So everyone deserves to feel safe in Minnesota. Everyone deserves to live without fear of being the subject to racist rhetoric, harassment, and violence. That should simply go without saying. But unfortunately, we need to continue to deliver that message. We know that our systems don't work well for all Minnesotans, especially for women, and even more so for women who are part of marginalized communities. And we have a lot of work to do to fix this. The governor and I have been committed to making sure that Minnesota is the best place in the country to raise a family for all families. And since our first day in office, we continue to hold this as a pillar of the work that we do every single day. And that really is the lens through which we have crafted our budget proposals for 2022. And it's the lens through which we have recommended our current supplemental budget proposals as well. Because we truly believe that budgets aren't simply just fiscal documents, they are moral documents. And with the surplus that our state has, the governor and I believe that it is an opportunity, in fact, it is an obligation to invest back into our children and families, back into our communities who need it most, back into the communities who frankly, who have been impacted more than anyone else by this pandemic, and disparities that have been part of Minnesota as long as Minnesota has been Minnesota. And so making our community strong by investing things like education, childcare, housing, safety, and healthcare. Because the governor and I know that children, families don't come in pieces. And so we need to make sure that we are looking at the whole child, the whole family, the whole community. And that's how we have proposed the investments. So as the governor mentioned, and I'm really excited about it, so I'm going to mention it again, universal meals for students in schools so that no child and no family has to worry about the expense of food at school, or the shame of not having enough money to afford those school meals. So we simply should take care of it for all of our students so that they have full bellies, so they are ready to learn. Supports to encourage and open access to teachers who better represent and reflect Minnesota's communities, and so that our students see themselves reflected in the classroom. Funding to promote and expand culturally relevant learning opportunities. Increasing resources to support communities after bias-related incidents occur and to better conduct investigations. We have heard the devastating stories from the AAPI community, from the Jewish community, the Muslim community, of racist attacks. And we know that hate has no place in Minnesota. We stand with those who have been impacted by hate crimes, and we think we need to elevate this issue, which is reflected in our budget. Community-based public safety grants, because people are experts in their own lives and communities and should have a say within what they need to be safe. And a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't make sense in a state that is as rich and diverse as Minnesota. Funding to increase translation services so that non-English speakers can better access important information from the state. And a historic proposal of $100 million in direct capital investment. So that means cash, essentially, for organizations serving Black, Native, and communities of color and immigrant communities. In addition, the governor and I recommend expanding the number of families who can qualify for the K-12 credit and simplify that calculation. The income cap for K-12 credit has remained at $33,500 for the last 20 years, and our proposal increases the income cap to $70,000 and adjusts it annually for inflation. This would help low and middle class families pay for essential school supplies like textbooks or tutoring. And there's a lot more included, but I know that you have lots of speakers that you need to hear from, but I hope that you can hear my enthusiasm for all these things, and I hope that you share it as well. The legislative session is already underway, and soon negotiations will begin with legislative leaders and our administration about how to best invest these dollars and spend Minnesota's budget surplus. I want you to know that the governor and I are deeply committed to going into these negotiations with the same goal of making Minnesota the best state for all people to live. And that includes every single person who is part of this conversation today. But we can't do it alone. We need your voices. And we are all experts in our own lives, and people need to hear from you. Our collective voices, our collective power is what is possible. And as the governor said, it is a handful of folks. It is a handful of folks. These are not things that are not within our grasp and within our reach. We can do these things together. And so we hope that our fellow elected officials will hear from you. We are honored and humbled to be in this space, to be in community and this work with you. And just thank you so much for all of the work that you have done to get us here. And thank you in advance for the work that we will do together to make Minnesota a better place for everyone. So Gitchi Miigwech, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, for both your commitment and your enthusiasm for these issues. Now, please join me in welcoming Brother Bashir Abdullah, or is it Imam Asad?
I think it's my turn now.
Yep. Now, please join me in welcoming the Executive Director of the Muslim American Society of Minnesota, Imam Asad Zaman.
To the hundreds of Muslims gathered here, to my fellow attendees, Assalamu alaikum. I want to tell you a story, a true story. In 2016, Muslims across the United States were greeted with the good news that all public schools in the city of New York, the largest US school system, would observe Eid as a school holiday. This accomplishment by the Muslim community of New York fired up my imagination. Why not in Minnesota, I wondered. I kept thinking about the thousands of Muslim children in Minnesota schools who don't feel acknowledged or welcome in their schools. As you know, in Islam, we are taught to compete in doing good deeds, and that is what we decided to do. The board of Mass Minnesota analyzed what it would take, how much political power we would need to acquire and wield to accomplish the same result in Minnesota. So in 2017, a group of us Muslims decided we wanted Eid as a holiday in public schools in Minnesota. So we drafted a religious holiday bill and started searching for a legislator willing to carry the bill. Representative Ilhan Omar had just taken her oath of office on a Quran as the first Muslim elected to the Minnesota legislature on January 2nd. We started the Eid discussion with her that very January. By March, we had finalized the language of the bill with the revisor of statutes, and Representative Ilhan Omar introduced the bill. However, since she was in the minority, the bill did not even get a hearing. Notwithstanding that, we lobbied for it anyway to every legislator we met at the Muslim Day at the Capitol. And we persisted for 5 years. Each year we came back and pushed again and again for the religious holiday bill. Finally, in 2021, Representative Hotan Hassan again agreed to be the chief author of the bill in the House, and Senator Omar Fateh agreed to be the chief author in the Senate. A special role was played by the Muslims who lived in Inver Grove Heights, which is the home district of the House Education Committee chair, and the Muslims who lived in the eastern part of Blaine and the city of Circle Pines and Hugo, which is the home district of the Senate Education Committee chair. We especially needed their help to email, call, and meet with their legislator to make sure this bill could get a hearing and could pass in their committee. As you know, without the support or the permission of a committee chair, a bill cannot pass in the committee. It can't even get a hearing. And in these hearings, we lined up educators to testify. We persuaded allies from the Christian and Jewish communities to testify and support the bill. We got Muslims to testify for it. And every single Muslim who spoke to their legislator for 5 years mentioned the religious holiday bill. Finally, after 5 years, in 2021, the bill passed both the House and the Senate, and the governor signed the religious holiday bill into law. So we thank Allah for this bounty and all the other bounties He has given us so generously. So this year in 2022, 5 school districts were able to implement this new law. Alhamdulillah, Eid is now an official school holiday in Minneapolis, in Mankato, in Moorhead, in Mounds View, and in the Hopkins school districts. Children in these school districts no longer need to be unseen. They can participate with their full selves, proud of their Muslim identity. Now, a special role was played by Minneapolis School Board member Sharon Al-Amin. Now, Sister Sharon was not the first Muslim who served as a school board member there. However, she was the first to push hard for Eid to be a school holiday. And her example was rapidly copied in 4 other school districts. My brothers and sisters, this is a story of perseverance. May Allah reward every one of you for being part of this journey over the last 5 years. I hope this story would inspire each of us to take up this effort in every school district where Muslim students study. Let this story inspire the Muslim community to advocate for all the other needs of our community and to truly make Minnesota home for everyone. Now, I would like to invite the 3 elected officials who have helped us get there. And I just want to make sure so first let us begin by inviting Representative Hotan Hassan to address the gathering for a couple of minutes.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Greetings to you all. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Hotan Hassan. I represent District 62A, soon to be 62B because of district change. I'm honored and privileged to be here tonight with you celebrating Muslim Day at the Capitol. I want to thank all the organizers who put together this event and who has been doing this event for the last 4 years I've been here. I also want to especially thank Imam Azad Saman, who tirelessly has, worked on the religious holiday bill year after year, doesn't get tired of talking to legislators, reminding me every year, hey, we need to bring up the religious holiday bill. Alhamdulillah, it was passed. And I want to encourage everybody in this space to continue making sure that it happens in the local, that it's implemented in the local school districts. It's a state statute, but also school districts have their own local jurisdictions, and there's a local control. So you have to bring that up with your school officials. I also want to encourage everybody to stay engaged civically. The people that we elect make decisions about our lives. They make decisions about our students, our young people's future, your future. We make decisions about money. We make decisions about education. We make decisions about everything. So you need to stay engaged civically, vote for the right people, not only vote for them, but stay, engaged when they get into office. Communicate with them, have coffee with them, email them about issues, and know what issues they're working on that may impact you negatively or positively, and bring your own values to them so they get to know you and they know what's important to you. Politics in America is intertwined with life. I know that some of us who came from other countries, we think politics, oh no, I don't want to get involved in politics, but American politics is intertwined in life. So if you don't get involved, you're missing out. It means that someone else is making decisions about your life.
Representative, for that, would you mind addressing the resolution that you dropped today about the India situation?
Yes, absolutely. So as you guys know, the atrocities that has been happening in India to the Muslim community in India. Recently, Modi decided that he was gonna, come up with his solution was, we're gonna ban hijab. So Muslim women and girls cannot wear hijab at schools and universities. So Imam Asad Saman, contacted me and asked me if I can write a resolution. So we did write a resolution, and that was introduced today. I don't have the resolution number, but I'm more than happy to send the resolution number to Imam Asad Saman and let all of you guys know that it's this month is the March is Women's Month, International Women's Month. So it was a good thing to say that we oppose the fact that somebody is telling women how to dress and how to what they can wear and cannot wear. And it was a human rights issue too, that we can't tell women you can wear hijab or you cannot wear hijab. So we did pass that, we did introduce that resolution today in the House floor, knowing that today was also Muslim Day at the Capitol. So it was not an accident, it was actually strategic. That's why we introduced this resolution today. I just want to encourage people to just stay engaged with us, because the only Muslim leader that I hear from is Asad Zaman, and he can tell you that whatever he tells me, I act on it to my ability and what I can do. Yes, it took us 4 years to pass 3 years to pass 4 years, 4 years to pass the holiday bill. But in a divided government, that's how things work. The Senate is GOP, the House is Democrats, so we don't agree much with each other. But that tells you that you can do a lot. We can do a lot. And we can change many policies that are Islamophobic, that are in our books, that impact the Muslim community. So I encourage everybody to stay connected with us, call us. When you see problems that are happening in the community, call us, call your state reps and senators. And I know I took too much time.
Awesome. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Omar Fatah. I'm the state senator representing District 62 in South Minneapolis. I really appreciate all of you participating tonight. I see there's over 170 people, mashallah. So it's a great turnout and it shows how effective of an organizer Brother S. Zaman is. So that's incredible work.
Well,
A lot,
actually, it's the whole coalition. It's
the whole
really not
coalition.
me.
I apologize, the whole coalition. And I would first, a lot has been happening the past 2 years in our state with COVID-19, but also the death of George Floyd. And we've seen a lot of people lose work. A lot of people are suffering. Businesses has been impacted because of this. Our minority-owned businesses, Muslim-owned businesses that Hodan, Mahmoud, and I have been trying to help provide some relief. With the death of George Floyd, we saw, or the murder of George Floyd, we saw mass protests, people taking to the street, demanding change, demanding police accountability. We also saw with that, again, businesses being damaged, specifically within our district, especially along the Lake Street corridor, which Holden and I have also been trying to work to get some money to help out those people as well. So a lot has been happening, and just yesterday we had a protest from our teachers and staff in Minneapolis public schools, and having to do with wanting lower class sizes. They wanted to see our ESPs get higher wages. We need to fully fund our public schools. This has been an ongoing battle that has been going for decades. We haven't been able to fully fund our public schools, and we've largely neglected not just our teachers but our students. So we need your help to continuously advocate to fully support our children. Another thing I'm going to need your help on is that this year we formed the Mhp Caucus. I'm one of the co-founders of the Minnesota Health Plan Caucus, along with Senator Jen McEwen, Representative Liz Ryer, and Representative Liz Bolden. It is a caucus that will bring a single-payer system, provide universal health care to everybody in Minnesota, regardless of employment status or any reason. We've seen a lot of people that have either foregone health insurance, or they have health insurance, but they don't see doctors because the deductibles are too high, right? And we've of course seen folks that have been get an illness, go to a hospital, and come back bankrupt. So we want to make sure that nobody goes bankrupt because of their healthcare or healthcare issues. We want to make sure that everybody is able to get access to healthcare regardless of employment status. And I think that it should be a fundamental human right. Both Brother Asad and Sister Hodan spoke on the religious holiday bill. I think Brother Asad missed out a couple of pieces to that. Number one, they did effective organizing and bringing a lot of folks to a Zoom call with Senator or Chair Roger Chamberlain, if I'm not mistaken, that led to the meeting, the hearing happening. And then with a little bit more scheming, they figured out which pastor lived in his represented Senator Chamberlain or Chair Chamberlain. And from that, you cannot say no to your pastor or your religious figure, right? So that made things a little bit easier, alhamdulillah. So now I'm really glad to see that because of this bill, school districts are picking up and allowing our Muslim children to celebrate Eid.
And
finally,
you also talk about the India resolution that you introduced?
Yes, Holden spoke very well about what's going on. So Holden and I said both worked very hard on this. Holden should get all the credit on getting the language done. I picked it up on the Senate side and it's been introduced, alhamdulillah. So now we have it on both sides. And I'm confident we'll get support from both caucuses. So
can you recommend to the people when they meet with their legislators that they should ask them to co-sponsor those resolutions?
Absolutely, absolutely. The resolutions get much stronger with those co-sponsors. So whenever you speak to them, please ensure that you make that ask, that they co-sponsor and support. And if possible, also amplify it on social media. That always helps, right? Sending out those blasts. So please ask for all of the above and hold the elected officials accountable. Hold me accountable as well. Because without you, I think the work that has been done this year has shown that none of this is possible without your organizing and your help. So, Jazakallah khair.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Imam Assad, and the Muslims here that have actually organized tonight. It is truly, truly an honor to be with the community today, representing Minneapolis Public Schools. I am the Minneapolis School Board Director for District 2, which is our north side Minneapolis area. As the Imam has mentioned, it's been an honor to champion for the Eid to be on the calendar for our Muslim family and our Muslim community this year. So again, I was blessed to be able to work with colleagues in the Minneapolis public schools and really make sure that we as Muslims have a collective, inclusive, and be part of the school system. We know for many years we have always challenged being able to either take days off or remove our children from school. So not having to fight this battle anymore is truly a win for all of us that I am honored to be part of. Again, I just echo everything my colleagues here have said. The messenger matters. So we need more of us to be willing to not only stand up and be part of the political arena, but be willing to take on the challenge and fight for what we want as a Muslim community. It is very important, but we cannot do the work alone. So again, as each of the colleagues before me has mentioned, we need your help. So when the call is made, when things are being asked of us, know also that we need for you to stand with us in those difficult times too as well. So I am honored, again, to be on the school board to fight. We know that education is the core of it all. And we need to make sure that our children are being educated, that families are being taken care of and being receiving an equitable pay. We need to make sure that our children are also receiving the resources and having the opportunities as all schools around in Minneapolis area. So again, it's just truly an honor to be with you, to stand here tonight, and inshallah, we can collaborate more collectively together as we try to get more representation from our Muslim community and just really, really fight for the change that we need to see in our city of Minneapolis and beyond. So, alhamdulillah, thank you all for having
Brother Bashir Abdul Qadir. He is a core leader from St. Cloud who will be sharing with us more on the housing situation there in St. Cloud.
Thank you, Brother Harris. Good evening, Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor, and to our Muslim elected leaders. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Abdul Qadir Bashir. I live in St. Cloud. Most of our communities here in central Minnesota and across the state face many challenges that affect their health, stability, and environment. There are a lot of issues to share about the experiences our marginalized communities are going through in our district. But today, I want to focus on the lack of affordable housing in our state. I'm glad that the governor mentioned that issue, and particularly in St. Cloud. There are 550,000 Minnesotans from every corner of the state who are at risk of losing their homes every month because the rent is too high. People of color are disproportionately affected and are not able to afford rent. That's why we need to launch a state-based rental assistance programs so that all Minnesota renters can afford their homes and choose where they want to live. Investing in the stability of a home is indeed investing in the strength of our community. Newer Minnesotans, such as immigrants and refugee families, are especially in need of access to larger units, in addition to a bold investment in affordable housing. We urge our legislators to support the state rent assistance program and more affordable housing across the state. We need families to have stable homes. Indeed, housing is a human right, and if we want to uphold our values as a state, we need to tackle this issue head on by increasing taxes on the top earners of our state who have the privilege of a stable home. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Brother Bashir, for these inspiring words. Now it is my honor to introduce our lead organizer, Abdullah Farah from the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah.
The Muslim Coalition, Faith in Minnesota, and Isaiah. Over the last 2 years, the experience of everyday people, Minnesotans, have been one of deep anxiety, loss, disconnection, and many people struggling to make ends meet during this pandemic. We've lost jobs, witnessed healthcare crisis, public safety crisis, closing of small businesses, and many are still fighting for equitable education and housing. At the same time, we've seen politics of fear and division that ended up threatening us all the way to the Capitol. Let's be honest, people are exhausted and many feel deep cynicism and despair about the current state of the world, and even more so about our future. However, the heart of our political vision is a belief that things can be different if we claim our voice, our agency, and take responsibility for how our elected officials and decision makers show up and partner with us. We know our community members are ready to be at the table in order to make safety and stability possible. That's why together Muslims across the state, using the vehicle of Muslim Coalition of Isaiah and Faith in Minnesota, are in a movement to build a multiracial democracy that honors everyone's dignity and a caring economy that allows everyone to thrive. Alhamdulillah, we're a statewide vehicle with excited bases in southern Minnesota, in cities like Rochester, and central Minnesota, in cities like St. Cloud. We've shown up in numbers in suburban cities like Rosemont, Blaine, Burnsville, and other surrounding cities, and even in Minneapolis and St. Paul in the Twin Cities. We have masajids, daycare centers, community institutions, and businesses who participate in our vehicle every day to fight for resources and change policies every day. Most importantly, everyday Muslims like you on this call, or who come out to vote and change the scales of power. In this year, 2022, we're in a big election, as you all know. And also, in order to make our agenda possible, we're exercising politics that put people in the center of everyday actions. You all on this call and thousands of others who are connected to us through our mosques, childcare centers, and neighborhood groups are the ones who actually make the difference. It takes all of us to build an independent Muslim political power. It takes courageous risks, and we're committed to build long-term power that starts with the commitments we make today. I'll share a link on the screen and in the chat here. You will see there's going to be a bunch of actions that you can take part of. Please take a moment to pull up the link and make a commitment today to lead with us so we can make our agenda possible and put our community in the driver's seat. Our next steps will be doing in-reaches during the month of Ramadan, which is April, which means that we will be training people on how to do one-to-ones and self-interest and connecting with others in order to build a powerful vehicle for all of us. We will have the Muslim Leadership Summit on May 30th, which is the Memorial Day. Please make sure you sign up for the trainings in Ramadan and you attend Muslim Leadership Summit in May. Jazakumullah khair.
All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Khalid Umar, organizer with the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah and Kids Count on Us. I want everybody to take a moment right now and just share on the chat how you're feeling about this. How's it going? How's it another year to MDAC? It's unbelievable. This is our third year actually, doing MDAC on Zoom. So take a moment, share a word, share how you're feeling. Isn't it very exciting to see our community come together once again and make sure that we hold our elected officials accountable on the issues that matter to us as a Muslim community. We're here grounded on things that are important to us. Oftentimes they say, when you invite a politician, you're supposed to take a picture. But today we're not taking a picture. We are making sure that we push on things that we care about. We're using our agency, our community, our power to make sure that we influence and we get things done here in Minnesota. And that's what we have done. And that's what we have shared today. As you guys know, every single year, because of the work that you all have been doing and joining on a constant year and pushing on the Eid holiday bill, today we have a win. And now Minneapolis Public School, one of the biggest public schools in the state of Minnesota, is recognizing Eid as an official holiday for all of our students. So alhamdulillah. So I want to, Ahmed, if you can share the screen. Now I want everybody to go ahead and share all of that energy and all of that excitement to your local legislators, to your representative, to your elected officials. Make sure that they are aware. They are aware of the things that you care about, right, as a community. So that's why right now, as you guys see, each person right here, I'll put on the chat. I'll put the chat on all of the different the different meetings that we have. If you live in Eagan, you basically, the link for that is massmn.org/MDAC51. If you just enter that, you will be able to straight go to your meeting in Eagan. If you live in Inver Grove Heights, you'll be able to go to that meeting here. Follow all of these links here, and you will be able to join your meeting.
Thank you, Mariam and Harris, for this, and thank you to all the organizers and participants of this virtual rally to ensure that our community has a voice and support from the state leadership and local decision makers. Events and gatherings like Muslim Day at the Capitol allow us to come together and share what is at stake for us at the state level. It also helps us create opportunities to ensure that everyone in our community has a voice and experience with the agency to stand up for what is just and right. We are very proud of our community for showing up and showing resilience during these challenging times. We are grateful to our leaderships and who showed up and continue to be bold on our issues and the needs of our community. I want to remind everyone that we will continue our legislative visits with our local representatives to discuss our agenda after this rally. So please engage and participate. This is how we claim our voices, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan everyone for joining today, and thank you, and see you in our visits to our legislators. Thank you.
For St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Rochester is the name of your city. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.